No one could, I guess, wait in Miami to talk with Tyreek Hill again. They talked to him post-game. Today, media availability, first day that teams are back to practice headed into week 2. And so Tyreek Hill's lawyer released a statement saying that on behalf of his client, they wanted the officer that detained him, and that was that escalated the situation. Again, their side of it. He wanted him fired. And Tyreek Hill was asked today if he agreed.
Your lawyer has come out and said that he's looking for the dismissal of the officer. What does that mean?
Gone.
So you want the officer to be
gone. He got to go, man. Because in that instant right there, like, not only did he treat me bad, you know what I'm saying, he also treated my teammates with, disrespect. He had some crazy words towards them, and they ain't even do nothing. Like, what did they do to you? They just walking on the sidewalk. So, I don't know, bro. Like, he gotta go, man. Like, it's not too many times that cheaters say people gotta go, but what they say on Wild and Out? Gone. No comprende.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You knew I was going to say something crazy.
Got a Wild and Out reference there, Chad. I haven't watched that show in quite some time. That's quite the pull. And he wants the officer pulled from his job, fired.
Well,
we're both to blame here.
Before I respond, let's get to the smart thing that Tyreek Hill said.
And that was at the very end of it.
That was the dumb part of it.
Yeah.
To me, he did actually say something smart.
He did. So both Hill and the officer escalated this situation. We went through the videos yesterday. And Hill said that he wishes that he had, I guess, just rolled down the window.
Could have been better. I could have let down my window, in that instant. But the thing about me is, man, I don't want attention. I don't want to be like cameras out, phones on you, in that moment. But at the end of the day, I'm human. I gotta follow rules. I gotta, do what everyone else would do. So now, does that give them the right to literally beat the dog out of me? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, I wish I could go back and do things a bit differently.
He would be dragged out of the car, I guess is what he's referring to, and beat the dog out of him.
Wasn't quite beat.
That was a
poor choice of words.
Pulling him out, putting him on the road, the pavement. There was a knee in his back, I believe, by one of the officers. Beating didn't take place, though. He was cuffed. He was detained.
No, this was not a Rodney King situation.
No.
As he said, beat the dog out of him, which that did not happen. I'm confused, though, with Tyreek Hill. I'm glad that he's admitting he could have handled it better. This was obvious to anyone who watched it that has a brain that can sift through two different things at once and tell you two different things at one time, as this show does every day. And we told you yesterday, Tyreek Hill is admitting the God's honest truth that he should have handled himself better in this whole thing. And I like that about Tyreek Hill. I'm trying to square Hutton the fact that he admits he could have handled it better while also wanting the officer fired still in this moment because of his teammates, I guess, is what he's saying. I'll also say that was the worst part to me for the officer, was the handling of the teammates. The teammates also could have done what he was saying immediately instead of saying, I'm leaving, and just standing there on the phone and not getting in the vehicle to leave when he told them to leave. So it goes back to everyone could have done it better. I don't know why Tyreek Hill still wants the officer fired and is going on about this after his admission that he, in fact, could have handled it better.
Yep. And, they've placed the cop on administrative leave. He's a 27-year vet of the force, of the police force.
He didn't look that old.
That's what it says, the 27-year veteran. I'm going through this and thinking, if you wished you would have de-escalated the situation, unlike, you don't have to have both parties admit that, but Tyreek Hill did. Isn't this continuing to escalate the situation? even like you're going to continue to be asked about it. Eventually, they're going to find and chat with Danny Torres, is presumably his name. The police department ID'd him. And I agree with you, Chad. The teammate aspect, Calais Campbell, Jonnu Smith, in Calais Campbell's sense, what he was told two different things: back up or leave. And he starts to back up, and that's whenever they go after him.
I think Calais Campbell has the biggest argument here. I still wouldn't say that the police officer of 27 years should be fired based on how he handled the Calais Campbell situation. That's a pretty swift and stern punishment for that. I don't think the cop was great by any means in all of this. Trust me, I'm not absolving him of anything but a suspension, without pay or whatever they decide to come up with. But Tyreek Hill continuing to say that he should be fired, Hutton, to your point, it absolutely does not de-escalate anything. And I just think it's wrong to continue on with that. We've all been involved in altercations with other people or arguments or whatever. And if we are 3 days removed or 2 days removed saying, I could have handled myself better in that situation too, that's rarely followed up with, but that person that I was involved in that with should be fired. They should lose their income and the way they make a living. I'm not understanding the connection between the two right now with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
For this guy who wants to be a big peacemaker all of a sudden.
Well, and he was released because he was Tyreek Hill. There's audio and video now of one cop who appeared to be looking at Hill's ID asked his colleague, this is from New York Post, I'm just going to read it from about the receiver's behavior in the clip, that Hill was nearby, he's handcuffed. He goes, why is he acting up like that? And then someone else in the background goes, you know who that is, right? And he's told that that's Tyreek Hill. He plays for the Dolphins. This is one of the Dolphins' star players. The officer then points at Hill. And the response is, oh, yeah? Drops an F-bomb. And then, that's the only time that it was we weren't pointing at 11 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, and the whole celebrity part of it, too, and privilege and everything else that we've talked about. Tyreek Hill initially after the game, after the Dolphins win, said, boy, just imagine if I wasn't Tyreek Hill. How that could have ended for someone, and that's what's sad to him. You can count to a lot of things and say, well, what if you weren't Tyreek Hill, and how it could have been bad, for anyone else. That
could have been Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler actually went to jail based on his situation, which is an interesting comparison of the two. And we posted an Instagram video from the show yesterday, and there was a woman who replied to it and said, I had no idea about what he did at Oklahoma State to get kicked off the team. And her question was, how is he still playing based on what he pled guilty to? And my response was, because he's Tyreek Hill.
No,
it's because he's so good and talented. That's how he's still playing in the NFL.
He may have faced some discipline coming into the league then. That was when Goodell was on the...
Well, he didn't face any discipline based on the allegation about the son, and that was a huge controversy when it happened. I know that. I think that he may have been... It was a controversy when the Chiefs drafted him.
Yes.
When they drafted, I think it was third or fourth round, they drafted him, maybe the third round. And there was a big controversy about it then. I don't know that he faced discipline. I know he did not face discipline on the second incident involving the abuse of his son.
And then charges were dropped in the most recent incident with the Marina incident, yes. We mentioned Scotty Scheffler. And, we saw this happen, what was it, June, whenever this took place? Compare it to this, they're very similar. Failure to comply. At least that's the officer side of things. Aggressive. That also happened as he pulled into the golf course. But, some in the media immediately look at this incident and think, oh, this is racial discrimination. It's just because he's black. And Charles Barkley, who joined Fox Sports 910 AM in Phoenix, says that, he's had enough of media playing the race card initially.
Your thoughts what happened with Tyreek Hill?
So, I don't know what happened. I think it clearly escalated quickly.
Yes.
I hate that we're going to throw it in the media because, the guys are going to quickly go to race.
Yeah.
And it bothers me because we don't know what happened because
we weren't there.
Because we got so many fools in the media who love to play the race card. I says, well, wait a minute. They just did the same thing to Scotty Scheffler.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Right?
Yeah.
I says, sometimes I think the one thing you can't do as a celebrity, you can't say you know who I am. And like I say, I don't know what happened, but that's the one thing you cannot do.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
You say, yes, sir.
Yep. Cooperate.
Cooperate 100%. And like I say, I don't know what happened, but like I say, when we let these fools on TV and the radio start talking about it, they go straight to, was it racism? I'm like, well, wait a minute now. We don't know that. And I saw the police report say he was uncooperative. Mm-hmm. So like I say, but the one thing I hate when we put stuff in the media, we let guys who race bait start throwing stuff out there. Like I say, wait a minute, the same thing just happened to Scotty Scheffler, who actually got booked.
Yes.
Yeah, he actually got booked.
He went down.
He went down to the big house.
Yes, he did.
So, like I say, I don't know what happened.
They had to wake the damn judge up.
That's exactly right. But, and Scotty was so pissed, he just won another $25 million. I'll show y'all.
Yeah.
He's like,
There's Charles Barkley.
That's good.
Chuck. See, the thing is, I love what he said. Is it possible it could be? Yes. But the jump to conclusions comes about before the video's released on Monday. You've got the narratives already out there from Sunday going into the game to leading up to Monday afternoon when the body cam's released. And then you see the body cam and you realize, oh, they couldn't tell who was driving that car because of the tinted windows. So they're not pulling him over.
Well, what
because of that.
Charles Barkley is talking about here is a big problem, and he's spot on right. The initial reaction to it is it must be race. There's got to be racism involved. That was so predictable. The first 4 X posts that I saw with the video were people in the media, and I forget exactly who it was, but, I mean, line up your list of candidates that would say this, and it was something to the tune of, this is just as disgusting as I expected. This video is as despicable as anyone could have guessed about the cop. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, you really had just a preordained idea of exactly what you wanted to see in this. So what does it even matter? Like, if you decided beforehand that the cop was 100%
you see what
right,
you want to see.
Or Tyreek Hill is 100% right, cop bad, Tyreek Hill good, Tyreek Hill bad, cop good. If you have that in your mind beforehand, why even watch the damn video? Why even see for yourself if you've already made up your mind?
You want to show everyone who you've been arguing with on social media that you're right.
The media that Charles Barkley's talking about that immediately jumps to race and plays the race card had their mind made up before they even saw the video. They saw the video or a little bit of it and said, it's as disgusting as I expected. I watched the video for the first time, and when you're seeing the video I'm getting put on the pavement, it's like, well, that looks bad. What happened that they released them? Then when I see the whole video, I'm thinking, boy, Tyreek Hill behaved like a moron to start this traffic stop, and then that escalated quickly, and then the cop didn't cool down at any point and made no effort to de-escalate. So they're both wrong
until they found out who he was.
And now Tyreek Hill is admitting some fault in this. But yet wants the cop fired also.
Yeah. But
I mean, Charles Barkley's completely right in this deal.
But it was Hill that also played the race card.
Yes.
Right after the game. So that also fuels the conversation and the headline. Because you got a quote from the player that's saying it and describing what happened. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, didn't even know what was going on. He was on the field pregame saying, I don't really know. We're waiting on Tyreek to get here. He's around the corner sitting on the sidewalk.
It's also, especially if you're someone as, let's face it, and this is a word I'll use, as privileged as Tyreek Hill. The man is a millionaire driving an expensive sports car with tinted windows to go play in a National Football League game in which he is paid handsomely to participate in. He is living a great life because of that. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't care what music you listen to. I don't care what your individual culture says about how to behave. It's not hard to behave properly when a cop is talking to you. It's not. Let's stop with this foolishness. That, to me, is racist. People that have come back at me on social media and said, well, you don't understand. That's how we talk. That's how we act. No, it's not. I know plenty of African Americans who would not do that to a cop.
Well, Tyreek
Who
Hill
would
did
not
today.
roll up the window and start yelling and calling their agent and acting frantic on the phone with their agent and not doing what the cop is saying. That's BS. And let's end that too. Let's treat everyone with respect. And to me, that's people not treating their own race with respect.
Well, see,
when they try to act like that's just how it has to happen.
But see,
That's bullshit.
They're in their own bubble, though, where, I mean, some of them have handlers that will handle everything for them. Financial advisors.
Well, this is the bubble I want to be in.
Their agent.
In a society, in the United States, like if you encounter police officers, there's a way you need to behave and to avoid things bad from going bad.
Well,
just do what they're saying, especially in a traffic stop where you're.
Okay.
I don't think he's carrying drugs and guns on
let
the
me
way
also
to
say
Hard Rock Stadium.
this is a visual guess as to how fast he was going. By the way, he was speeding. You can see on the video.
Yeah.
But
Also, people are saying he was going 90. He was going 60 and a 40 is the report.
But
I've heard people saying he's going 70 miles over the speed limit. That's not true either.
20 over the speed limit. He pulls up next to him, rolls down the window before he pulls over, and he's not wearing his seatbelt, presumably. Then he goes up to it. Why weren't you wearing your seatbelt? For it to go from there to dragging him out of the car in 20 seconds is ridiculous.
Well, he didn't roll his window down.
I don't care. You know that's
if a cop told you to roll your window down, you wouldn't do it.
Chad, I'm not going to be on the pavement in 20 seconds.
Well, so why was he on the pavement then?
Because you agreed with me yesterday. This officer does not do anything but escalate this.
No, but
and you and I would both agree, I believe, that if that were to go down, and I'm not going to just sit there and be quiet. I'm going to be like, dude, what's going? Like, what are you doing? I'm not going to be Tyreek Hill.
I can only
but I'm
speak
going to
for
defend
myself.
myself.
I can only speak for myself. I would not have called someone and been yelling at someone on the phone about getting pulled over, and I would have kept the window rolled down, or the moment he knocked on it, tell me to roll it down. I would have rolled it all the way down and not cracked it. Well, so look. People could say, well, it would have happened anyways because this guy is a racist. That's what a lot of people are going to say, right? I don't know. We don't know what happened because Tyreek Hill didn't do that. He didn't listen and abide by what the cop was saying.
Based on what the cop said whenever he was told who this was, he knew the body cam footage was going to get out, and he was screwed. He says that.
Well, because of the celebrity of the person.
Sure, so they let him go.
Yeah.
So, but why?
But what started it? Was it Tyreek Hill not rolling his window down?
Do
you think that you would have been drug out though? If Tyreek Hill was sitting there not on his phone, talking to the police officer, doing what he said, keeping the window down, handing him his license and registration, and calmly talking to him, do we think the cop would have jerked him out of the car, thrown him on the pavement, and done all that? I think the answer is no.
Well, no. But, based on his comments in the video at the end where he says, oh, really? And then drops an F-bomb, I'm assuming that, had that not been the case, no one hears about this. But, you crack your window. By the way, the tinted windows are the reason. I've been pulled over in the winter. I rolled my window up.
But if the cop knocked on your window and said, roll it down, you would have rolled it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
License registration. Go back. They bring the thing back.
I'm not trying to apologize for the cop for not de-escalating it. I think that he became kind of a lunatic after the fact, and he didn't ever calm down, even with other people that clearly weren't threatening.
That's the issue.
That's the part of it with that. But
which tells me
Tyreek Hill also it could have. He even said I could have handled it better by just doing what he said.
No doubt.
I don't think any of this happens if he does.
Jonnu Smith and Calais Campbell are two of the most calm, cool, and collected dudes that I've been around. And, they know Tyreek Hill's car, and they're walking up going, what is going on? And by the way, both are, I don't know about Calais, maybe. Jonnu's represented by Drew Rosenhaus. So it makes sense that Rosenhaus would have Jonnu on the lookout on his way in, potentially. But again, for them just to walk up and be, Jonnu wasn't put in cuffs, but Calais was. He was told to do two different things. The whole thing is so avoidable. And it happens on a game day morning as you have all of these rare cars, these vehicles, pulling by you, and you're thinking, oh, I wonder what we're doing here in Miami Gardens next to Hard Rock Stadium, which is in our background. Surely these aren't players.
Barkley's right,
How would you not know that?
Tyreek Hill wasn't treated as poorly as Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler got booked for something even less. Scotty Scheffler wasn't even speeding. He got 2 mixed messages, kind of like Calais Campbell. He says he got 2 different messages about where to go and what to do, and they said he was disobeying the cop.
And there was someone that was coming up saying, who was it, Chad, that came up in the Scotty Scheffler incident and said, you know who that is? It's, that he's a player. I forget who that was walking up.
Yeah.
But I assume that the officer just found out that it was Tyreek Hill, and that, the head of security for the Miami Dolphins got it done. His name's Drew as well. Chad, I know, did Clay just send us a text? Did I miss that? Or is it just my computer? I'm going to make sure we're not going over his time. Oh, we're good.
Yeah, that was from earlier.
Okay. You know what else was awful? Offense in week 1.
What's going on with that, Hudden?
Dude,
what's happening?
So, this
is supposed to be a league that's built on offense, and the rules are supposed to help the offense and to help the quarterbacks be great.
I hesitated to do the numbers on this because overreaction in week 1 typically proves to be, real. Like the overreaction, not the truth. Week 1 is a liar is what we hear. We're going to find out. And I'm going through some of the quarterback play. There were 61 touchdown passes in week 1 in 2021. There were 35 week 1 on Sunday. And the average team passing yards, 2021, 263 passing yards average per team. 188 this past weekend. 2019, 61 touchdown passes. 2020, 52. Mentioned 21 with 61. You have 2022 with 51. Last year, 37. This year, 35. Half the quarterbacks threw for less than 200 yards on Sunday. And the highest quarterback rating in week 1, you want to take a guess?
Highest quarterback rating in week 1.
It wasn't Will Levis.
Was it Carr in New Orleans?
Very close. He was second to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield and Derek Carr led the quarterback rankings. And
which has Browns fans really pissed off.
No doubt. Bill Belichick has been excellent in his analysis. And here is Bill Belichick on with McAfee. And he's discussing Will Levis's just awful interception that's returned for a touchdown and ultimately gives the game away.
So bad.
After leading 17-0.
Have to lose yardage, and then if you can make a play, but don't make a play, make a bad play. So, that's the one that always got me when the players said, well, I was trying to make a play. I was like, well, how about try to make a good one then? Make a bad play.
Oh, yeah.
So like the play that Levis had, where he gets out of the pocket, he flips the ball, underhand, backhand, whatever it was, and that's just, even if you hit it, what do you really have? Not much. And then if you don't hit it, then you lose the game. So it's just there's no upside to that play. There's only downside, and it's just. That's just a terrible decision. And Tom and I have talked a million times about, if you complete this pass, what's the upside? You gain 1 yard, you gain 2 yards. All right, you guys going to get tackled anyway, like the play we just saw in Tennessee. I mean, what if he had completed that? What's the upside? 2 yards? What's the downside? Lose the game. Like that's you just can't make those kind of decisions. And even if that ball had been complete, there's no upside to it. And so, Tom did a great job of, risk management and, cut his losses. And so, rather than turn the ball over, all right, you lose a couple of yards and you get sacked, but at least we can gain our field position back by punting on third down.
There's Bill Belichick. We'll hear from another Hall of Famer in just a moment. But, Chad, here's some of the notes of quarterback play right now. Kirk Cousins made his Atlanta debut, 2 interceptions. You had Daniel Jones. His last passing touchdown was 359 days ago, back in week 2 last season. Now, he's coming off an ACL, but he did not attempt a pass Sunday that went further than 20 yards in the air. Quarterback in the NFL. The Bears won in spite of Caleb Williams. He led an offense that converted only 2 of 13 third downs and a total of 148 yards. How about Las Vegas? How much does Antonio Pierce trust his offense right now? The Raiders trailed by 6, 7 minutes and 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Vegas had 4th and 1 from the Chargers' 43. And the head coach punted the ball back to Los Angeles. And then they trailed by 2 touchdowns when they got the ball back with 3 minutes left. The Jags led 17-7 at halftime in Miami. Then Trevor Lawrence was 3 for 7 for 37 yards passing in the second half, 0 for 5 on third down. Bryce Young, awful. He tossed an interception on the first offensive play of the season for the Carolina Panthers. He finished 13 of 30, and the Panthers offense scored 10 points. Bo Nix, 12 passes that traveled more than 10 yards, Chad. He completed 2 of those passes. He attempted 42 total passes, and in those 42 passes, he averaged 3 yards per attempt. This is quarterback play in the NFL, and Malik Willis is about to start for the Green Bay Packers. Deshaun Watson had a touchdown and 2 interceptions. San Fran, 8 straight scoring drives, but 6 of those 8 went for field goals. Here's Troy Aikman discussing what he saw on Sunday.
Well, I would agree partly that the fact that they don't play impacts things. You know, they don't work together as often in the offseason or in training camp as they once did because a lot of players just simply aren't practicing because of the fear factor of injury. Quite simply, Scott, the quarterback play yesterday was not very good overall. In general, not very good. There were some really good performances, but I saw some really bad quarterback play. Now, you expect some of that from the rookies, of course, but there were some guys who were veteran players that just simply didn't play well.
So I understand that the immediate reaction is, oh, these guys aren't playing in the preseason. They don't practice. Many of the top quarterbacks played in the preseason. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Stroud, Lawrence, Tua, Herbert, Levis, Richardson, and the rookies who didn't play in the preseason, Prescott, Goff, Purdy, Rodgers, Murray, Mayfield, and Carr. And many of those guys
they played
were
okay.
the bright spots in week 1.
Yeah. Even Aaron Rodgers was okay.
They weren't horrific. I think this is just the high school and college game making its way to the NFL. And it's the style of what the quarterbacks do there that is now not under center, no 7-step drops, barely a 5-step drop. And in some cases, Bo Nix, who is, his grandfather played at Auburn. So did his father. He ends up at Oregon and reclaims his college career. First-round draft pick, and he's averaging 3 yards per attempt in Sean Payton's offense.
It's also, as you go through those stats, it jumps out to me how many of those offenses and quarterbacks got worse in the second half.
That's a great point.
Typically, you would see the flip-flop of that. First half, jittery, start to the season, offense maybe a little bit behind, your team falls behind,
Yeah.
your stats look better in the second half. Or you start lifting the top off of it in the second half. Will Levis is a classic example. He was okay in the first half, not great, missed a huge touchdown opportunity, but was atrocious in the second half. Bo Nix, you brought up.
They get close.
Same thing, a couple young
now,
quarterbacks.
The rookies, I get, but
give them a pass.
What's going on with, Watson?
I think he's just bad now.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. I mean, they get the money and then all of a sudden they suck.